Welcome to the August 23rd, 22nd, excuse me, the August into the future already. The August 22nd, 2024 meeting of the Revitalization Trust Fund. We are meeting remotely via Zoom, and I am reminding people that if they have anything that they would not want shared on their screens or in their background, to be conscious that this will be recorded, and they should just be mindful of that condition. So why don't we kick this off? Number one, that the NCRTF received an unbelievable, wonderful award about a week or so ago from the Charles River Chamber. We received the Community Impact Award, and it was terrific for a lot of things. One is, of course, we've certainly been working for a lot of years to be able to do things that would positively impact the community. So that was a great recognition for that. And the second is it also happens to be our 25th anniversary. So it was a wonderful awards night at the Charles River. We were actually at TripAdvisor for it, and we received basically a wall hanging and citations from the state and from Denise Garlick. So it was just a wonderful experience overall. So I also sent it out in our newsletter, not only that announcement, but also a copy of the letter that I wrote back to the town and distributed through our network, to be able to just say thank you to so many different people that we weren't able to that night, because basically none of the people who were recipients of awards were able to really actually say thank you, because they were concerned about a possible rainstorm that might be coming in. And so they were trying to keep everything as brief as possible. So they basically did the award ceremony, and we had to do our thank yous after the fact. But hopefully you guys were able to read it. And and you were absolutely part of that entire thank you that we eventually were able to distribute around to hopefully everyone who could possibly see it. So the gist of it is, high five to you guys for being able to do all this great work, and let's see if we go for another 25 years. We'll see.
A really nice anniversary gift at that.
Yeah, yeah, really. So, right. So, first of all, we need to approve the June minutes. We did not meet in July, so basically, I wanted to be able to have propose that we approve the minutes from the June 2024 meeting. Do I have a second?
Second,
I heard somebody in the background. Is that your son approving the minutes? That's great.
my kids. The door's closed and you can still hear them, so you can imagine the volume beneath that.
That's great. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We have a quorum and they are approved. On to the next. Update on the Burt Wickstrom bench. It's actually arrived. We're basically waiting right now for the DPW, actually the Park and Forestry, to be able to assemble it. And as soon as that's done, then they will take it to the site at Greens Field, which is basically on the pathway to the over to the right-hand side, closest to the YMCA. There's one of the concrete and wood slat benches will be removed, and that one, the new one, will be put in, which is another black powder-coated steel bench with the inlaid plaque. And then we will set up a dedication ceremony to be able to do that as soon as it's installed. I spoke to Sandy Wickstrom just the other day. She just got back from Sweden and Iceland, because she was taking Bert's ashes basically back home to be able to distribute them there. So her and her son did that, and she just got back a few days ago. So she was very excited to hear that the bench was here, and now they're just basically it's a matter of being able to just get it assembled so it's and put on the site. So she'll then I'll let her know as soon as that's done, and then she'll pick a date sometime in September to be able to have a dedication. So that's awesome. Um, the Cali bench, which is the one dedicated to the Callies, uh, which is going to be at Mitchell School, both just yesterday, um, the concrete pads that we're using for those two. In a lot of our installations, the foundation is already there because we're swapping out an older bench for the new one. But in these two locations, there was no foundation. It basically would sit in soil or mulch. And and we don't want to install things like that. The benches just end up sinking and not being able to be have a long life in terms of their stability. So we had ordered concrete pads, which are 84 by 36, and they come in from Iowa, and they on the truck, and they delivered them yesterday, and they were both put in place in the prepared sites for both of them. One at Mitchell School, right along the pathway, though I should say the sidewalk area, um, right next to where a tree is on that curve around drive through at Mitchell. And the second one is at Cricket Field, and it's actually sits under a tree up near the front of the field, just to the side of the Cricket Field sign. So the guys from Park and Forestry did a great job of being able to set them both in place, and basically in the course of just barely an hour, we were able to uh, receive the foundations and move them into place in both sites. So, it was a high five to the crew. They did a great job and really appreciated. And they were very meticulous and careful about making sure that it was lined up properly and that everything was good to go. So now all we need is benches to put on them. So the Cali bench is one where they're trying to be able to have that in place by, I think it's somewhere around the end of October, to be able to do their race. Uh, but the holdup has been that, we've been asking for the inscription for the plate and, for the plaque on the back of the bench, which has to go in at the same time the order's put in. Both the um, Cali bench and the Middleton bench, the one at Cricket Field, are both fully paid for. And the orders are ready. The one for Middleton is complete and has already been ordered, and it's already in process. The one for Cali, that is where I'm literally just waiting for him to give me the information because the order has to be complete because they manufacture it all in one shot. And they found that if you have anything chasing, then it messes up their manufacturing process because they can't, once they put the thing on the on the slide to be able to be manufactured, then that's when it happens. So anyway, so that's the two of them, but they're both paid for. They're both the foundations are already in place, and everything is basically as good as we can. And I'm hoping within the next, certainly by this weekend, that that they will have the plaque inscription. Sorry, to me.
Do
And
we
so
do
we can,
do we do a dedication to those when they're installed?
yes, yeah, every bench that we do does a dedicate. We have a dedication for.
Yeah.
The one for Callie's obviously would be a dedication around the jog your memory foundation, which is what it's in memory of, and then the other at the Middleton bench is for Coach Middleton, and we're trying to make sure that that gets in, fingers crossed before the end of the soccer season, since he was the coach and one of the key people at the very beginning who actually organized the Needham Soccer League and has basically had it grow into the tremendous combination organization that it's become. So we're all rooting for him. Just have to hope that the manufacturing process happens, in good timing. So that's that. Um, let's see. The granite Catherine Booney bench seem to be all talking about benches are basically the big theme of the day for these things. That bench also is in. That's the carved granite one, which has the beautiful inscription across the front of it that says "You are the gift." And that was delivered last week in the pouring rain. And we were standing out there. I had brought a what I thought was a raincoat, turned out to be a windbreaker, and so it was pretty wet. So, but they were able to unload it. But one of the snag we ran into is the fact that very shortly, hopefully they've started by now, but very shortly they're supposed to start dredging the Needham Reservoir, which is at 500 Dedham Ave, which is what the Amity Path encircles. And so they didn't want to put the bench in place until after that dredging was done to make sure that it stays safe. Because obviously it's big equipment and they're all around the sides of the path and they're going to be staging things on the sides and so on, and so they don't want to put it up yet. But basically, um, I think they said 4 to 5 weeks that it takes for them to do that process, and once it's finished, then we'll connect back up and they will put it into place, and I'll be there when we go to set it where it goes. But that's basically the scoop on that one. So we've got two benches that are delivered and ready to go in, which is fantastic. And then we've got two more that are in process and hopefully will show up, as soon as possible. And let's see. Um, One of the things that we need to get to work on actually is the sponsorship for the From Needham to the World for Charlie Baker. So uh, we need to reach out to people that we think would like to be able to do something nice for Charlie Baker. And we need to actually get that funded basically by the first couple of weeks of September. We need to find a sponsor to be able to do it, or a combination of sponsors to do it. And as always, it's $1,295. And so you get two sponsors at basically $700 would cover it, more than cover it. Sorry about that. Last week, um, last that I started to lose my voice, and I was doing great, and then I've had like 4 meetings in a row today, so I'm running out of voice. So anyway, oh
4 meetings today you had?
yeah, yeah.
Oh my
So
All right, so we have to see if we can find some people to connect with.
yes,
Okay.
and so it's very important we get this funded so that we have that taken care of. I will continue to reach out to people as I always do, but the rest of the committee needs to basically, reach out through their network of people and see if how quickly we can put together the funding of that. The next thing we'll do too, as soon as we get this one funded, is that we will then start campaigning to be able to get the 3 sponsors for next year, so that they're already basically sponsored, and all we have to do is just prepare the actual profiles. So we did that in the first round, and we did it coming into the first of the year. But since we were deciding what this last one was going to be, that we hadn't been as active as we normally would be to be able to get it done in advance. So now we need to basically just catch up and then, take care of 2025 as we go. All righty. Next, the trellis, if you haven't driven by the post office recently, that the trellis for the post office is now up and installed. We also moved the bench to a new place in the front. I'm waiting for a quote from a stonemason to be able to do the area where what the bench will sit on, which he's actually designing with brick to match the building, and some cobblestone around the outside to give it a border so that they can mow around it easily. I've been encouraging them to be able to try to work on getting the lawn basically mulched, not mulched, but um, topsoiled and seeded, because it was basically really beat up when they were doing the street work, and they were parking a bucket on the on the front lawn. So I think whatever the crew was that came back, they put down basically grass seed and then threw down straw on top of it. But because they don't have any direct way of being able to water it, I think basically the birds just had a feast. So, they really they need to work out some way of being able to get that to have a water source of some kind, so that they can actually regrow the lawn. And they were also working on getting a lawnmower. Apparently, the one that they had was pretty much at the end of its service. So, so while I was there putting up the trellis, I mowed their lawn. So,
Full service.
yes, and actually in the back of my car right now, and after this meeting, I'm going to the post office to plant the wisteria, which is going at the base of it, so that it will have something to grow up onto the trellis. I just picked that up from the Needham Garden Center.
That's a
So
brand
that's yeah, so that's basically where it's at. I don't have a price on what the little stone, a little brick area will be yet, but I should have that quote hopefully within the week. And then we'll find out, how we proceed with that. In the meantime, the bench can obviously just stay the way it is, since it's been there in different places in the lawn prior to that. But now the bench is lined up actually with the trellis. If you stand in front of it, the trellis is directly behind dead center. So, and it looks nice. And the wisteria will have blue flowers. So it, it should look beautiful. And it's supposed to be incredibly hardy. So the only thing that they'll probably need to do, ongoing, is just to keep pruning it to the trellis, because wisteria will get bigger.
Mhm.
But that's a pretty simple thing to do, and the wisterias don't mind pruning at all. So that's how hardy they are. So anyway, we'll bring a little more beauty and sunshine to the post office, and hope that all the postal workers, since they go there every single day, just feel a little better about the connection to the town and to the neighborhood. And obviously, it makes it better for all of us who go to the post office to be able to have something, attractive to look at. So, all right. The on the town common box art, that we're getting very close to the final iteration of the design, um, so that so that it can go to Speed Pro for their part in it. As soon as we have that finished rendering, then I'll send it out to all you guys, so you can see it. The concept for it has already been approved by, boy, this is like the concept has already been approved by by the Historic District Commission, who oversee that project along with Park and Forestry. So uh, we're gonna, obviously, as soon as we have this finished, we're going to send them off a copy so they can be, affirmed in the fact that what we described we would do, that it is that way. It's, um, but I think it's coming out great. I mean, I think the work that Seymour Levy has done has been terrific. The process has been one, I think we've talked about it before, but basically in this process, because these are complex boxes, in fact, the reason that they brought it to us originally was because they were having trouble being able to figure out how to actually do something on the boxes that wouldn't look like it was, you know, it needed to look like it could integrate in some way. But that's difficult to do when you have three different size boxes and two sets of them. So when we looked at it, we thought that, basically then when we talked to the Historic District Commission, what we described from showing them some samples of the different things that there were possibilities, is that they really were connected to one of the designs, which basically follows the theme of the box art that we did at Eaton's funeral home, where you see the hedge behind it, and then we took that as the theme because this box is in the middle of the sidewalk and not particularly attractive, that we basically took the images of the hedge boxwood, and then turned it into a boxwood, and then put in the pieces of whimsy with the shears and the clippers and and gloves. So just as if the person who was pruning it had just walked off for coffee. So they really liked that, having seen it a number of times. And so we said, one of the ideas here is just to be able to just do the best we can to make the boxes actually look like they're part of the garden.
Mm.
And one of the comments they had was, said, is that we wanted to make it so that, the first thing, when you look at the common, you want to look at the common. And that the first thing you look at is not, a creative piece of interesting art. Because their feeling was that then that takes away from sort of the overall zen of the of the environment. But by taking the concept that we had presented them, using basically turning it into something that will look like it's growing out of the garden, um, that it should have a much more integrated appearance. It also allows us to be able to do two things. One is that when you wrap around on different size boxes at different heights, that you have to think about how are the images that are on those within those wraps intersecting with corners and tops. And so our solution to it was that we come up with a base image that could be easily wrapped around any of the boxes and at different heights. And the then we would go back and then add the whimsy into it, now that we know exactly where everything is already falling for the base image, which isn't really affected by whether it wraps around the corner or not. So one of the other cool things about this whole thing was the fact that we have a woman who is who lives in Needham, who is a professional photographer of animals and wildlife. She's the same one who provided images for the Ridge Hill mural. And so she went into her collection and she found things and she pulled out ones that are all photographs of images of the of animals from Needham. And so we've got a butterfly, a monarch butterfly, which is absolutely beautiful. Rabbits, because we all know there are lots of rabbits in Needham, right? There's a couple of mushrooms in there. I think there are birds. Um, And I'm not sure whether there's a squirrel in there or not. There was a chipmunk that we were looking at, but so we'll see how that lines up. But anyway, but you'll see there'll be a variety of these little things that will be integrated into the design that are all basically, all need them, you know. So, and the grasses will basically come up the box. And then there's a blue sky behind it with some clouds, and the clouds, the sky will wrap onto the top of the boxes. Because one of the things we need to consider is that people will look out on these things from the second stories of buildings around it, as well as from the town hall. So you can actually look to see, you'll actually see the tops of the boxes. So we want it to be able to look like it's complete. The only thing that we aren't wrapping is there's a space which is maybe 4 inches wide between two of the boxes. And there's no way to easily apply within that area. The second is that virtually you can't really pay, you don't even pay attention to it because it's recessed into the cluster. So our images will come up, wrap just around the corner and stop. But because there's a difference in height between one of the box in the foreground versus the background, that sky will actually wrap over the box and down to disappear just below where the lower box visual line is. So that it looks like the sky is just moving around onto to the upper side. So, our expectation is that we've got it put together in a way where it's very viable. It should look really upbeat and positive. And we're now in the stage of production where it's going to Speed Pro to um, be able to now do a proof, so we can actually see a end proof, and that's what I'll send out to you guys as soon as they've got that rendering finished. So anyway,
Mhm.
so we're hoping that by the end of September that that it'll be installed. And this is the funding for this all came from the funding that was allocated for the town common renovation. So, any questions on that at all? The um, we had just taken a look at the Needham Heights banner, which I think you saw. Um, but um, JP is going to take that back to the committee and just say, here's what it looks like. Um, if you have, if there's anything that you think we need, since we don't have any logos, we don't have any town logos on it. And, the banners are basically blue with white. So and from what I understand, that one of their, color palette considerations is blue, which is great. And if there's something, in the logo that we could incorporate it, um, we could change the top word of Needham into the logo if that looks like it'll work. And if there's a font in particular that they have chosen, that we could have the word Heights across the bottom done in that font, so that it stays in line. So hopefully the font, if whatever they've chosen, is of a has a bold version of it, so that when you blow it up on these banners, that it's easily and quickly readable. But we'll tune in when JP gets back to us about where they're at, and that's the reason we've also been holding up the project, was basically to wait for that the committee to be able to finish the work they needed to do on that. So if we can be in support of being able to bring out the first iteration of these, their new logo work, then, this is a great opportunity to be able to do it, and it'll be very visible in the Heights. And the other banner that's part of it is just a parking banner, and it's just blue with white, just like the one that's on Chapel Street, that directs you to turn into the Chapel Street parking lot. So, and those are off at the parking lot that's directly behind Blue on Highland. And for those of you who may have not heard, that Blue on Highland is now taken over what used to be the barber shop next to it to get more space inside the restaurant. So they've got a little expansion going on there, which will be great for them. So that's scoop with that. And basically, we have a candidate, which is Joan O'Connor,
Yeah.
who
which
is
is
going
Tuesday.
through the process of the vetting for becoming a new member of the
She
Revitalization
is,
Trust Committee.
she's complete. She
Well-
sent me the note.
Okay, I think there's an interview that is coming up on the 30th, and that's the final interview. At least that's what they scheduled.
I think she had a meeting.
Well,
I
I'm
don't
just saying
know.
that's what the town sent
Yeah.
off to me.
Yeah,
That on the 30th, that is the interview that's
Yeah.
set up with Heidi Frail and
Yeah.
myself. So anyway, but the point is that, she's very close. We're
Yeah.
getting things wrapped up, and hopefully we'll have a new member to the committee in the not too distant future. So that'll be awesome. I've spoken with her before. She's a smart and really, really wonderful person, and with a background in art, and a variety of different, very interesting things that could be of,
she lives on
value.
my street.
Yeah, and she lives right across from Carol. Carol was actually the person who went out and mentioned to her that,
Yeah.
hey, we were looking for a new member. Would you be interested? And she was
Yeah.
interested. So that was great. So yes, any recruiting that you guys can do, it's, it's definitely appreciated. So that's what I've got for the agenda for today. And other than determining the meeting for September, any things from you, JP, about any of the things that you think we should make sure we're up to date on?
No, I will, as soon as I can get the stuff back. I know they're working on the style guide and everything, and I know they're going through process of it. So if I can get the stuff dealing with the banners and kind of the outdoor stuff moved up, that way we can get that taken care of. I will talk to Kate and Amy next week. I know have some meetings literally on the graphics and all of that for kind of the rollout of it. So I should have more. I'm hoping by like Tuesday, Wednesday next week. So, and then we can go forward from there.
Okay, all right. And what was the other thing I was going to mention to you? Oh, and one thing, are you involved at all with the poet laureate?
Uh, a little bit, yes. I'm kind of seeing it, but like it's part of the NCAC's there. That's going to be down. I think it's through the library is kind of the one that's person's handling it. Is it the library? And because he had done it before.
Oh,
So that's when the interviews and all that are taking place.
I see. So they're just at the stage where they're actually interviewing for a poet.
Right. Yeah. They haven't even, they haven't gotten past that point yet. So.
Well, one of the things, just to catch you up on, JP, is that a few years ago, that we had put together a program actually called Sky Poetry, which we were going to roll out on the Eaton Square Plaza, because there are only 3 banners there, and there are 3 banners on it. The other ones are the Eaton Square banner that signifies the place. But on the left side of those poles, there's 3 poles where you can add a different banner to highlight something. And one of the things that we had proposed was actually and had talked to the library about as a potential. But you know, at the time, it just wasn't a good fit for them, was this concept of sky poetry, which is basically putting up the banners there that would have a rotation of different quotes, basically from famous poets. And then they would have a link and a QR code underneath it where you could go and read the rest of the poem or actually click to a video where a person is reading the poem. And you know, it was basically to help people get more engaged in poetry and being able to have, you know, a kind of rotating cultural piece that, you know, once every, you know, quarter that we could roll out a new banner that because the cost is really low when there are only three banners, you know, and we don't have to
Right.
worry about weather damage because, you know, we only need to produce three. Because, you know, in the course of 3 months, these banners are, you know, highly unlikely to wear out, no matter what the weather is. So anyway, we actually have a QR code piece that is low on the pole up at the backside of the plaza there, where you could just focus your phone on it, immediately scan the QR code, and then it takes you to a link that would be a video or whatever, you know, it could take it to a link at the library with that's a page filled with, you know, different poems. And then these poems could be, you know, select poems could be highlighted on the polls on a rotating basis. So that was the concept. I actually have a mock-up of what it would look like. So I just mentioned that to you. I reached out to Amy just to let her know when she got a chance to, you know, to give me a call if she had just to tell her a little bit about it. But since you're here, that's that's the concept, and we do have, you know, sort of a prototype of it, and a place to be able to display it. So
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what the plan of it is to have the poets gonna like speak at town events or do education at the library.
mhm.
I think the meeting's in like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks we're meeting about it. So by the next meeting I should know a little bit more and I can report back kind of what the envision for the poet, at least in the short term. I think they'd hope to develop it as, you know, everything into a little bit more. So, but I'll relay the message that you guys had considered that and with the QR codes on the banners and that.
Well, and just basically that we have a place at Eaton Square Plaza that we can put up three banners that could have a piece of a poem on it, so that when people, you know, sit out to eat their lunch or whatever, that they could, you know, read the little snippet of the poetry, and then if they want to scan the code, they could actually go to a page that had a whole variety of other things to, you know, pique their interest. And we had it basically tied to the library so that we get, basically the idea was to be able to drive more people to the, you know, to the library to explore poetry. So that was just, you know, and it's just a concept, you know, that we thought could be interesting and um, and fun for people to see something that's, you know, uniquely different. So anyway, that's the scoop, and if it's a value, then we have something to show them as far as the concept goes, and if it doesn't seem like a good fit, then it'll stay in the archive. So, that's just the way it is. All right,
You know, like I said, I will let you know what I find out.
sounds like a plan. And so anything else, Eric? Anything?
No, not really. Looking forward to getting into fall here, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. Although I'm I'm gonna miss the absolutely fabulous days we've had. I mean,
Yeah,
we've had some summer days where you just sit in a chair and enjoy the sun and the temperature's perfect and there's almost no wind and it's like this is great. You know.
yeah.
So, but fall is totally awesome also. So, you know, we're very lucky to live where we live and be able to experience all these different, you know, beautiful changes
Mhm.
that go on throughout nature around us. So, It's very cool. All right. So as far as next meeting goes, one date that I think we looked at was September, what was the 20,
19th or 26th,
I think maybe the 26th.
either one.
Eric, does that,
19 works better. 26, I'm actually out that night. It's my birthday the night before. We're celebrating dinner the night after.
there you go.
So I could do 19. I could do Tuesday that following week. Whatever. 26 just isn't good, but before or after is.
All right. Well, let me skip through. Let me just check this.
4 weeks from today is the 19th.
Oh, so I mean, that's a full month. So that's still good. Why don't we go for the 19th? And we'll check. We'll mail it out to the committee. But to make sure that Jessica doesn't have any, conflict with it or whatever, but why don't we say September 19th?
September 19th.
I'm sure I'll be able to talk better then too.
You got to give yourself a break.
Yeah. It's in the calendar right now. That's in. That's good. And the 19th.
I'm gonna go try to hunt down some Charlie Baker fans.
That sounds wonderful. All right, well, I think that's it. I think we've completed the agenda, and thank you all for all your great contributions, and I'll let you know as we find out about the dates for these dedications for the benches.
Perfect.
And then we'll continue moving forward with getting the From Needham to the World mural taken care of, and start to get that into production. And that's basically the scoop for the moment. So I propose that we close the Revitalization Trust Fund for meeting for August 22nd, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. It's a wrap. Thank you all. And we will
At 5:54.
5:54. I'm still 6 minutes early, so that's great. Well, enjoy dinner, and we will talk to you soon. And
Have a great evening, guys.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, JP.